bit out of order.
There we go. So it's going to get a bit of silver
ready for
scrapes.
game 5, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Woo! We've only just expended all of our energy before.
Nothing for the cast. Nothing for the cast. Welcome back.
In here.
Welcome back. Why? I was the one getting grief about my legs and stuff like that. Come on, you youngins.
You old.
Yeah, I'm Boomer and you the Zoomers. All right, we'll bring it back.
Azuma. We're the same age.
Yeah, you literally are. You have no comeback.
See how he tried.
Normally I would have had one, not this time around. God damn it.
Welcome back, one and all, to the EMEA Masters. We are into game number 5. That's why you were hearing silver scrapes in your lovely ears. It was Movistar riders who are able to bring it back, and a potential reverse sweep now on the cards.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tough position to be in for both teams, realistically, because if you're unicorns, obviously, I mean, it's an elimination match. Let's not even sell it short for one.
It's now a best of one.
It's now a best of one to advance. If you lose, you're out. But if you're unicorns, you don't want to get reverse swept. And if you're Movistar, not only do you obviously want to win, but you don't want to have played an extra 2 games just to lose the final one.
It's almost so much easier being the team with momentum coming into this,
is,
right?
though.
If you're the team that starts up 2-0 and then all of a sudden you drop the ball one time, it's okay, we can still get another one, and then again, and now backs up against the wall, and you're like, we have to make it click now. There's always that extra pressure on you.
And that's because you do come into this final game questioning everything now. You've lost 2 games in a row. What's working? What's not working? How did we even do this at the start? Like, you could argue, much like BLG versus JDG in the first time we saw the LPL finals, this could have been a 3-1. Like, realistically, this could have been a 3-1, you know, all said and done, but it isn't how things go. It's not how the cookie crumbles. We're going to jump straight back into this one here. And the unicorns this time around, they're saying, look, we can't even give away the Recon.
I think that's fair. They're just like, you know what? We did not find the value in that first pick we're looking at. We don't want to give it over either. But that does mean that now Seri gets taken off the board. They're probably just looking at a Xayah first pick themselves here this time around, though. They know how much it means for Supa, and just having the takeaway could be beneficial for them. But I still think there's lots of great other AD carry options, honestly. I don't think it came down to the fact that Xayah could ult. We've seen it so many times where she still died. Like, I still think the late game carries are really where the mark is going to be hit.
I feel like just having it as a takeaway, though, just so you can actually play the game. It felt like for unicorns, if they want to play this aggressive style, which we've just seen, and generally I feel like it's when they look the best is when they've either got like measured aggression or like they have the tools to do it. I think if you don't have to deal with the Xayah ultimate, then potentially life just gets a little bit easier on these dives.
This is interesting. They ban away Gragas instead of going for the beforehand Wukong. So the Jace from Movistar has still been taken away, so has the Fiora and the Olaf. So a lot more topside focused and mid lane.
Yeah.
Here comes the first takeaway. We were anticipating. I think with the Wukong being up, we'll probably just see Isma go back on that again. They felt quite comfortable on it in our earlier games.
Yeah, Isma should pick it up. And then the question is, what AD carry does Supa actually go towards, right? Is it going to be Varus in response? Is it going to be Jinx, potentially, which has only shown its head once
like it
so
just
far in the
has to be
series?
the Jinx though, right?
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like a more reliable carry, and if the game does get messy like it does here, one reset where you get excited can pretty much just turn the tides of a team fight.
Yeah, and I feel like if you go Jinx here, you then also still have the opportunity to maybe go Galio if the options open out for it. The Sejuani has actually been let through, and Unicorns snatch it away. So this does give Fresskowy the opportunity maybe to pick something which can really kind of, how do I put it, like scale up for free in a Galio lane, but then you're still giving agency over in the early game for Unicorns. And Galio, Sejuani, the skirmishing power and the amount of CC they bring can be so difficult to play around in the early stages.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've seen a lot of Galio, so all those counters to it is not really fresh in my mind as to what would just be picked in. Not even going to be a counter just yet. It's just going to be that Thresh paired up with the Jinx, not going to risk going into the second ban phase and have it taken away. So solid combo down in the bot lane for Movistar Riders.
So Silas is one that you don't want to have to deal with straight away. Skirmishing power, kind of, it's a bit 50-50, but laning definitely leans into Silas, but also you get to steal away the ultimate. That's one of the big ones I expect to be removed away here.
I also just feel like when you have that Galio right now, there's not actually any champion facilitating him diving into the backline. Sejuani is very good at killing the front line first, not so good at actually coming in and finding that backline. So by taking away a Silas, you can also allow yourself to pick Malphite and have that follow up from the top side. You already know that there's a Wukong, there's a Jinx, as well to have a tank that's really happy about buying that armor.
Yeah, you definitely, I like this point a lot. I feel like for unicorns, you need to find someone that actually goes in first. I guess you still have the support role to kind of just, you know, throw their life away for the cause. But also, when unicorns,
the Leona from Lekcyc, so.
Yeah, we've seen the Leona already. I also want to just bring up their tiebreaker against LDLC, where they actually had this combination and they didn't actually play it in an aggressive manner where they snowballed the game. they actually suffocated LDLC out of the game instead. And that felt a little more impressive. So if Movistar don't necessarily have super aggressive options for Unicorns, if they can actually play the map slowly, having these kind of big global skirmishes via the Galio and then just having big bodies next to the Sejuani, that could actually be enough to kind of overbear Movistar in the early stages to kind of just put them off early options.
But the rest of the draft should be clean for Movistar. They know they're playing into a Galio in the mid lane, so you get a counter pick on 4, and then on 5, you just get a counter pick for topside as well.
I don't know. I don't know if I like this. Unless this is randomly going in the mid lane, I don't know how much.
It has been played in the mid lane by quite a few mid laners. Larson Cap's been happy about playing some Kennen mid. Don't know if it's something we would see into the Galio though.
Yeah, that's my big concern. Like, you can definitely get away from the Galio, right? You see him go backwards. Okay, I just hit my E and I run away. We've seen the Nautilus throughout the night, and you know, we wanted something that can kind of be the body to go in. You also mentioned Leona. I think it's a slightly easier access to the backline option compared to the Nautilus, so I like that they go towards it. And Venour knows what he's going to be playing into in the top side. A big curveball pick like Kled could be something where, again, you know, you've got Sejuani, you've got a melee champion there. The combination is super easy to execute, and it would be difficult for Marky to ever get out of dives.
And last time we saw Lekcyc on Leona, that was where he actually found his roams up towards that top side of the map to actually look for plays. Question is, can they do it again? Last time Venour locked this matchup in with the Irelia into the Kennen. He really struggled, actually, as a team as a whole, they really struggled when actually playing through it. And for Movistars, they were waiting for a reason with that last pick. They're going to go for Swain.
They're going to go for Swain. I actually really like this as an adaptation to what they were seeing in front of them, because the entire composition on the side of Unicorns is so short-ranged. Galio can, I suppose, put some pressure down in one way in terms of lane priority, but eventually there's just going to come a point where this Swain should be mildly unkillable, especially in the mid game. I think once you hit 2 items, Roa comes in, you get the extra level. There's just so many things that play into it. So for Movistar, not a lot of engage options, but I think the big massive AoE ultimates from the solo laners and the fact that they have the Jinx as a backup DPS source should give them a lot of things to play through once they hit the 2 item marks in the mid game.
Yeah, for Movistar, relocating Supa around with the Dark Passage is going to be what you're looking for with the Thresh. And then you have a lot of flank options, like Isma on the flank on the Wukong, Kennen on the flank as well. The setup afterwards with the follow-up CC from the Never Move is something to look forward to. On the side, once again, have Unicorns of Love. Playing up towards that top side, really looking for an early avenue to get a lead should be key.
Well, this is it. 4 games. We cannot separate these two teams. It's why we love best of 5s. It is a true determiner of between 2 different teams and who can actually persevere in the eyes of everybody watching. We jump onto the rift for the 5th and final time.
I was waiting there. Is he going to go God? Is he going to go like...
Whose eyes? God's eyes. Guess what? I'm God.
No.
Who is chosen? But I will say, for the top side this time around, having Irelia and Sejuani being paired up, there's such a potent composition. You know, it's so easy to play the game when you can just get the stun stacked up, have Mass to play around with on a side lane. Like, I would say, as a side lane win condition, there's a ton of tools right now from Unicorns of Love to facilitate Venour. The big question is just, can he actually redeem himself? Because last time he played the matchup, we did not get out what we wanted of it.
Not even... I don't even know if I'd frame it like that personally. I feel like in the early game it was fine, but I kind of look at it as a bit of a failure on the whole team as a...
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah. To actually give him more space. And when you've got Sejuani and Galio, you can do that. And it gets so ridiculously hard for Movistar to really do anything. After level 6, you can obviously still use Slicing Maelstrom as Marky to maybe, you know, buy some space, but will the burst really matter in response, I guess, is the big question.
And this is a little bit of a small thing, but may become very, very relevant later on. No exhaust on the side of Unicorns. Wow. And this is the thing, in the last time we saw the Kennen, and I know Lore is a massive pet peeve about this, if you're going against the Pikachu in the top lane, you need an exhaust. You have got a Glacial Augment, which is kind of it, but it's not exactly a point and click, you don't do damage anymore.
Yeah, that is a really good point as well. I think another point, just going back to the early game here, is the fact that Unicorns of Love bot lane decided to leash. That will give the pressure over to Movistar's bot lane in terms of who actually has control of the bot lane wave, but more importantly, it will put Peach ahead in his journey up towards that top side.
Yeah, it certainly should.
Swings and roundabouts.
It does swing and roundabouts. One thing I want to mention is Peach, passing from bot to top, could potentially look and angle through the mid lane.
Oh,
Actually,
hold up.
pinging, he's changing his path, so he's going back down towards the bottom side. There's a ward which they know about, because you can see the icon. So it looks like just an invade. Isma is still clearing out Krug, so this is just Peach using the tempo that he's getting from the leash to potentially just steal away this buff, keep the bottom side isolated, and he knows as long as Venour's not really like too low, diving this Irelia can be a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, but it's going to be matched. So
They just show, they really good read of Movistar, because I don't actually think that, you know, Peach was spotted going into that enemy jungle, but there still came pings on towards their own blue buff. And Isma, just
Split
answering
map.
on the top side here, straight up, looking good.
yeah, split map. Isma's a little bit further behind in terms of the tempo, in part because of the leash, I feel like, from the bottom side. So we'll see whether or not this kind of plays into anything. And is Unicorns actually stacking the bot wave, I guess, is the big question. They were trying to, by the looks of it, but just not able to. Maybe Super clearing out some of the minions with the rockets makes it a little bit difficult to
Half E to be the one who gets the minion control, because, well,
Oh,
Oh, they're looking for an engage here. The cleanse going to come out, but Puck means that Nexus takes a fair chunk of himself. Peach is in the area to maybe go for this one here. There's still a flash available. He's going to look for it. He's going to flash away. They're going to get him his own thing. Needs tower, and they will de-aggro the tower stacking. But a flash forward. And the flay. Does he get a hook in? He does. And that's just going to be Alvaro in a 2v3. It's going to be a 2 for 2 and a triple kill. Alvaro coming in clutch.
okay, so he's going towards a route where he's just picking up an early Kindle gem. I really wish we saw a route where he just went boots, tier 2 boots immediately to have faster roam timings, faster movement around the map. He's still going to be playing around with the cooldown reduction he's getting from this, but disaster bot dive from Unicorns of Love in this game.
And I hope when we have some downtime, we can look back at that dive maybe, but Peach, not going to be able to steal that one away. Isma had Smite on deck and ready.
Alvaro's here.
Alvaro's here.
Yeah, I mean, Mas doesn't get a first rotation. That hook is going to go way wide. Look, you score a hat trick and then you don't hit anything else after that. They're going to be able to maybe take down Peach. Yes, they will. Marky now here, flash away by Mas, and it's all falling apart now, Shimada. There's nothing you can really do. There's just all these kills now going to Movistar.
But it's all coming together for Movistar, and that's the important thing for them. They find Peach out because Peach is just getting over-aggressive over the fact he lost that scuttle. 1v1 in the bottom side.
Supa,
There's
not
no
sure who, there's no pullback, but there's enough damage. Funky levels up as well, and the 1v1, he keeps Unicorn at least in tow.
What is going on in this game so far? So much fighting all across the map.
Yeah, so you were calling out.
Oh, look, this is so late. This play is so late. This play can never happen like this.
It shouldn't be happening like this, but the fact they get such a good trade onto the bottom side means that this dive can actually happen. But I just have to highlight, Peach's overall execution is a little bit weak. He misses the Q, doesn't follow the flash with the W, so he loses a lot of his HP, which makes the redive so much more difficult.
Yeah, flash forward, gets the auto attack through. Flay-empowered auto attack as well with that regard.
And the W from Leona actually draws aggro because he's being hooked in and it expires at the end.
And they're so unlucky with the timing of the minion wave as well, just to the fact where the tower aggro goes over to Funky afterwards too. So, of course, this could have been worse. This could have been a Jinx with a triple kill.
Yes.
And that is very important to acknowledge. A support with a shutdown can be beneficial for you because it's easier killing that kind of support than it is killing the AD carry. We're just going straight into another replay.
Yeah, replay into replay. And again, look, this is just kind of moving into what we've seen from Movistar when they've won those games. When it gets scrappy, when it gets to the point where you're not really able to set your feet down and set things up, that's where they thrive. And the Unicorns, they're just walking into it.
Yeah, I mean, more numbers here first for Movistar, right? That's the key thing. Thresh makes it to Peach first. Lekcyc isn't there in time. Fresskowy also finding the double root fallback. Excellent stuff. This starts off, the root's a little bit weak from Funky, but Supa then recognizes that and tries to find the 1v1 in the DPS.
Yeah, and I think in the end, there's a bigger minion wave for Supa, which is helping him out
I'm
in
gonna
the trade.
be honest.
Yeah, what's up?
I think Supa's minions kind of griefed him there.
A little bit.
Because I feel like they should have maybe been autoing Funky a little bit more aggressively than perhaps they were.
Those minions, their attention span, about the same as a goldfish. The 3 seconds coming through. Nothing happening here anymore.
Yeah. But again, this is kind of coming down to, this is game 5. You're getting tired. You've been playing nearly 4 hours of League of Legends in a row to a point where you're kind of saying, like, yeah, there are going to be mistakes. You're not going to get the flay down. You're not going to be able to kind of perfectly execute. And it is going to be how you kind of adapt off those moments that's going to be the big difference.
And despite all the kills going over in the favor of Movistars, they actually don't have that big of a gold lead. Even this objective going over to Unicorns of Love in the beginning. Now, they could still look.
They're looking for the Galio ultimate. That's going to be a hero's entrance. Not going to knock anybody up just yet. There's a never move as everyone tries just disengage. Alvaro just getting chased down a little bit. He does have a pretty big shutdown, but they got the Visions of Empire to make sure he gets out. So get a couple of ultimates, nothing else burns, and everybody just happy to let that dragon go over the side of Unicorn.
Yeah, it's just small thing. Good shit from Venour as well on the Irelia. He moved down as well, so they knew that Movistar couldn't actually go for the fight.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think the fact that they couldn't get that permafrost in, really important. Oh, Venour.
Oh, that's a fast little ramp.
He hits
He
the stun.
is not going to land the flawless duet, so not that flawless, as we can now see them now looking for this one. No flash here on the Irelia is Isma. And the Swain going to make this one a little bit of an unfair 3v1. Yes, they most certainly are, but in the 1v1, the Irelia comes out, trumps him with the flawless duet. He should be able to get himself out as well. That's huge.
Oh, I think Supa tried to throw his... Oh, wait, there it is!
We got trolled by the observers. We got absolutely trolled.
I use Jinx, no mana, don't worry about it.
Like, Jinx, no mana. Ultimate on cooldown, I was like, oh, I guess maybe Mask blocked it in the mid lane. I looked at the minimap, didn't see the icon, I was like, oh, I guess it's just blown up.
Now, resets are coming through. Advantage, at least in items in between the two top laners, is on Venour, and the two laners against each other without no ultimate. It's just beneficial to the Irelia, which could lead to the side of Unicorns of Love just picking up a Herald here straight up, because they could just win the team fight with the amount of ultimates that's available to them.
Yeah, and I think big thing to me is that the ultimate not being available for Marky, really huge. Just a little bit of poke here. But not having that slicing Maelstrom, I think, really doesn't allow Movistar to have a kind of setup that they would prefer. Whereas for Unicorns, even though they're down, you know, things like that Irelia ultimate, the Galio ultimate, I think just the big bodies, again, just being able to kind of find a target, burst them down, makes it too much of a volatile task. That will be that Herald picked up, and we'll see exactly where they want to put it, because I think you've got, you know, a solid option in putting through the top side of the map if you want to try and get the Blade Through and King Spike online, but of course, naturally, you always have to talk about AD carries when the Herald is on the map.
I'll be honest, Unicorns of Love at this point in time haven't really looked like a team that wanted to expend those resources on the top side,
No,
though.
they just haven't.
It wouldn't surprise me to see them actually just say, hey, we're going to do this bot side instead, despite the 5 blades still being up there. I would love to see them actually just get bot lane priority and still use the fact that there's downtime on this Drake, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then leverage a man advantage on top side instead and actually just blow open the matchup.
I would love it as well, but I feel like generally Unicorns, whether it's not feeling confident or just the calls being we need to get funky ahead, whatever it is, it's really hard to tell, of course, from our perspective, but we'll see what they want to do, because Peach, he's down here on the bottom side. Oh, and that Visions of Empire, I think it spots them out as soon as the cast comes in, right?
So does indeed.
They know now that that play's coming in. They just have to back away.
This is where I would love to reset then.
Yep. Just reset, run top. Like, there's even a bit, I think there's a stacked wave coming in towards Marky.
Yeah,
Oh, there was. It kind of got cleared out a little bit, I think. So, yeah, really, it's almost frustrating when when you zoom out, because it feels like such an easy avenue
I mean, it's
to
so easy for me
abuse,
to
right?
say, right? Like,
There's a reason why we're here
Masters,
and they're there.
Exactly.
You know? There's definitely a lot more nuance to it. And again, look, the
Always
pressure,
is.
the situation. This is something that I love talking about as well, is that the human element of League of Legends. Like, yes, it is 100%, you know, totally, you know, fair to say X team should be better than Y team. Absolutely. But you need to make sure that you're bringing the human element of it. Things happen, you know, plays can just kind of land perfectly in your arms. And these are the kind of things that make this game so amazing to watch, because let's be real, with 2-0 down, Movistar shouldn't have been able to come back, especially after they threw that first game away, but they kept themselves in it. They brought themselves to 2-2, and now we're coming into this game basically even across the board.
all right, 1 minute on this Cloud Drake. So far, it's actually Unicorns of Love who's been stacking up the most. Let's take a look at the vision that's been gathered around that Drake, because right now it's next to Zero. There's one ping ward that's been dropped down, but it's not really support and jungler working together to retain that vision. The vision has already been cleared by the side of Lekcyc and Peach, because it's actually Unicorns of Love using their mid, jungle, and support. And the Q hit.
That's the question. Oh, they predict it, but can they follow up? That's the real question. He does flash. They get the ignite as well, so that's two summoner for one. It looked very cool, but cool guys don't look at explosions.
Yeah, I mean, Alvaro kind of walks that one out, loses his flash. I think for Unicorns, just it's 300 gold on the Thresh, additionally, on top of the actual kill itself.
They're really chasing coins.
They really wanted to chase it, but now you've got 80 seconds on cooldown for Peach's ultimate, Lexus ultimate as well. Pretty lengthy, even at level 1, so I think now without those abilities, maybe Movistar have an angle in, and Marky's actually roamed down to the bottom side too.
Yeah, taking stock of the items as well, you can already see it, right? Leandra's and Roa has come through. That Roa still needs to stack up a bit, so the favor definitely on Movistar's point of view in this situation. Marky, as you said, had roamed down, but that does leave Venour up towards the top side, where he could deal with some platings for himself and could highlight there.
Yeah, Peach. Are they just giving up the dragon? I think they want to try and dive Marky on the top side.
It's tough. They do have the tools, but the Swain,
Man,
Thresh, and the
Movistar don't wanna give it
Wukong,
up.
it's a party right now. And the funny thing is, I don't think this is actually bad for Movistar. We're going to see a full kind of fight coming in for them right now. They're going to try and jump on the Peach. And I love this from Isma, putting himself into the pit, recognizing I can cover everything and where you go. Massive, massive move there in favor of Movistar.
A bit of a mistake from Peach there. He thought he could collapse, did not anticipate that the rest of Movistar riders was going to be around. Thought they were still going to be on that Drake, but they had the scuttle crab on the Drake. They should have known that no one started it up.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe just thinking, you know, Mask Peach, really strong, you know, skirmishing duo, maybe they can find a burst target.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's just a bit strange.
Galio ultimate.
Yeah. Oh, they want it.
They do want it. They're going to pop down the hero's entrance and get the Thresh off it as well. They haven't killed off the dragon, but Funky already having to go and let the feathers go flying. Tom comes out onto Isma. Can they burst him down? Just get away with the decoy. The feathers come stringing back. So, despite everything, Unicorns, they do get themselves a dragon.
And that's why this Galio holds so much power in this matchup. Once again, it's about cheating that little tempo it takes from enemy mid laner and yourself to have an impact on the fight. Leona came down with the lockdown into the ultimate. No flash on Alvaro from the exchange earlier. That's the coins we were looking for. That was a shutdown. And another Drake going over to the favor of Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, and again, you know, Ocean Soul spawns, comp for Unicorns, big bodies, loads of health to work with, and that's when Ocean Soul works most efficiently because it's working on those health percentages. So if they can get that stacked up, it's going to feel very impressive for Movistar. So Movistar need to see if they can find a window in eventually to stop this Dragon Stack from
Also
happening.
just, you know, this is Xayah under the radar. We knew he was fit for a while, but at this point in time now, 1k over his opposition on the Jinx. So already got that Gale Force and with a shutdown as well. Still haven't been back, and I wonder, yeah, okay, so he sees that the E gets used, knows that I can just ult whenever I want to, yeah. And just a bit of a miscommunication between the mid lane of Movistar here, not holding on to that E really hurts them.
Yeah, just a little.
Super.
Yeah,
He's fine. He's fine. 500 gold lead, 2 dragons now for the Unicorns. They are down a kill, but it's definitely made up for in the CS departments of top lane and jungle to an extent as well, but and we start to see where they can kind of build up from this one here, because Unicorns, it was looking a bit shaky, it was looking a bit scrappy, but they've kind of brought the calm back into this game.
Now let's look at these rotations. Reset coming through from Jungler and from Funky as well. Rift Owl is spawning in 10 seconds. So with this tempo advantage that we're seeing, and the fact that Venour is already topside, would love to see that all of Unicorns of Love is just saying, you know what, we're going to move all our members up towards the topside. We're going to benefit of the fact that Supa's only going back to base now, and see if we can leverage a good fighting position.
Yeah, see if they can. Ultimate's still on cooldown for a while for Mask. I think around 40 seconds, 50 maybe.
And the thing is as well, Alvaro, because of the pressure actually, did not get to go back. So he's got no wards. There's no trinkets available either. If Movistar decides to stay around here, they decide to do it in the dark.
They do. They'll do it. Venour could collapse, but it just seems like overall, without a couple of those key ultimates and them just coming up right now, Unicorn's really apprehensive about actually going in, not wanting to overdive in.
Should actually be able to leverage the first turret though down towards the bot side with this exchange instead. Just because the fact they still have that bot lane down there. Peach
Does get hooked up, strong back, but he's pretty tanky at the moment with that Warmog's rush. Alvaro tanking up the turret for as long as he physically could. Surely we'll get spawned now into the mid lane. That should be first turret in the mid lane going down.
Look at the map right now, right? Top side
right.
should go down here, bot side going down as well. So even though you have that Rift Herald in the mid lane, and even though it is very beneficial that you're opening up the mid lane turret, you're losing your outer turrets on the other side.
Yeah, and also I just want to highlight, Venour is 2 levels up cleanly on Marky because of how much he's had to roam. So a lot of these map movements not really going the way that perhaps Movistar wants to, because Supa gets gold, Silent Condition and Venour gets gold, and they exchanged a Herald to get that mid-tier 1. It's not like it was just a 2-for-1 where they didn't drop the Herald, they dropped it just to get the 1-for-2.
And they're looking to get more aggressive as well. Looking to see if they can leverage the fact that people are picking up waves on Movistar. They do get spotted out by some of the wards, so not going to get too aggressive. And while we have this down jump, could we actually look at the total gold in between the members? So you just want to see what's actually looking like here.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Give me a second. There it is. I'm new here.
Right. So it is still sitting with Funky, expecting it to be bigger, but you can see it Marky down towards the bottom of it as the Kennen. Only 1k ahead of his support, so yeah. 2 members that you want to see ahead on Unicorns of Love are the one sitting in pole position.
Definitely. Now, even though Marky is significantly behind, I think it's also very important to note that Kennen doesn't always need to deal damage. It looks cool when he blows up an entire team, but in a situation like this where you've got tools like the Wukong and also the Jinx, if you just keep the members of Unicorns in place for them to get, I don't want to say one shot, but blown up fairly quickly. Maybe that's enough to actually get Supa the excited stacks that he needs to get a reset going.
It's also just a fact, call back to the no exhaust from machine early as well.
Yeah.
On the Kennen, so mitigate it, damage won't really appear, so yeah.
Well, we can see what kind of damage it can do. It does mean that the Marky isn't really in a position to have his first item yet. You would love to have that rocket belt for the moment, but each getting hit there by a hook, not really going to mean the biggest thing. And this is kind of honestly what I love about this Warmog's rush. We've seen it quite a few times, that like you can just be a little bit more aggressive. You can get caught out, and as long as you survive, you will be able to heal up again, not be in any real danger. Speaking of real danger, it's a straight up ultimate for ultimate train that's topside, and it looks like he wants it a bit more. That's just the power of the Irelia in the 1v1, and now the fight can really begin in this mid lane. They're looking to try and put down the damage. This Jinx hasn't really been touched just yet, but a cleanse off of the taunt means that Mask is not in a position to fight this. Flashes are coming in left, right, and center. It's a 2-for-none trade in favor of the side of Unicorns, but they aren't able to kind of get anything else from it yet.
You can see, though, Unicorns kind of limping away from that mid lane skirmish with their tail between their legs a little bit, because Fresskowy was starting to stack up on the damage. It's very, very hard.
They knew one
to kill
reset,
that Swain.
if that was coming through into Jinx there, right? You just get out of there.
It just feels terrible. Obviously, we had the top lane solo kill. How did this one kick off? Is it just... It's actually more an engagement peach. Yeah, they just feel like Alvaro steps up too far forward. They kill him for it. But then you can start to see Fresskowy starts to stack up. Really, really hard to kill, and he's just in the middle of everyone. Remember, of course, Swain doesn't lose that demonic ascension until he actually isn't physically hitting anyone anymore with it. I thought the visions of Empire might steal it.
We're all right.
So, again, for Unicorns, it is a very double-edged sword. They have the ability to dive in, and if they can burst a target, great, but they have to get out before the Swain starts to stack up and really deal some damage. And hopefully in the future, from their case, they can actually make it the Jinx so that that extra added threat of their resets never really comes to fruition.
But they are going to find more problems on the side lane now. Yeah. Venour is 3 levels ahead of Marky. He's sitting on 2 items.
Yep.
Marky still haven't finished his own. Have just finished.
It's only mildly
the first
problematic.
one just now.
It's only mildly problematic.
But I will also say it's going to get more problematic. He's going to be finishing his Merc Treads, and then he can look onto a Wit's End. And as soon as you get that, like, even the Swain won't really become an issue, right?
He comes to teamfight at that point. Like, once he has that much MR, feels like, for now, Supa is not really in a position where he's going to be dealing too much damage. Maybe until he hits IE, right? That's really going to be the big spike, and that's a while away.
They're in such a time as well on Movistar as well, just due to the fact that, hey,
oh,
that's soul point already.
He might be dead again.
He might just be dead once more. The W is good. The flash away by Marky. Can he get the lantern? No! He couldn't click on it. The Irelia is now between turrets. They don't really know where they want to go with this one here. And Movistar throwing down the box. Maybe Donkey was going to go for it, but yeah, the Baron being called straight away. Yes, you'll kill this Irelia, but at what cost?
Yeah, that's the thing. Baron's getting started up. You can't get the Visions of Empire down to get some sort of information, but what good is information when you know this is Law's already down to half HP? There's a Jinx rocket coming up, so let's see how much touch.
Nothing.
Not at all.
Yep. It's the Baron going over, so still net win for Unicorns of Love. Shutdown going over to Supa to get him somewhat back into the game, but still, Baron on Unicorns of Love now.
Now, obviously, Movistar have a couple of ways that they can find themselves back into this game, but this has got to be one of the most impressive. Before this Baron went down, 1.5k gold leads I think I've seen in a while, just because of how strong Venour is, but also it feels like Unicorns are returning a little bit more to their slightly disciplined ways, where again, they've been okay at actually disengaging a lot of fights and not necessarily overstepping their bounds when they shouldn't be. Supa is going to pick up this tower at the very least, so it's more gold back into his pocket to try and catch up to Funky.
And a silver lining as well, of course, is that Irelia did not get that Baron buff. She would have been the most versatile with that in a side lane. Right now, Mask has taken over that duty. He's up towards the top side of the map, while the rest of Unicorns of Love still trying to see if they can deal with this mid lane turret. It's been a thorn in the side of them. Every time they're trying to look for some side lane plays, mid lane turret always the one where they can't actually press further on. Now that they see majority of the members down towards the bottom side, and they have that Baron buff, they can finally start cleaning up this mid lane turret and have more access to the map.
Yeah, exactly. See how they actually utilize this slightly more open map. I think for Movistar, we're slowly kind of approaching the point where they really need to find some kind of big spike or big fight soon, because it feels like Unicorns are slowly but surely suffocating them out of this match.
Venour's going to be 4 levels ahead of Marky soon.
Yeah.
And it's not as if, oh, like, you know, you're just missing a level, I'm just ahead of you or anything like that. Like, that is legitimately going to be a huge amount. And speaking of a huge amount, there's a hell of a lot of damage there on mid lane.
Supa as well.
Quick little pick, and it's Supa getting some more gold.
Everyone can respect a little bit of charity. Even Lekcyc is apparently giving something back to the point this situation. And, you know, Movistar Riders really in dire need of it. But even if you get this kill, this is just on the support. Not worth a lot. He's going to be back again in 15 seconds. And I think the big problem is just the fact that that soul is coming up in a bit. Still no healing reduction on Movistar. Already hard to difficult to deal with some of it. You know, you see that mythic as well from Irelia. So
this is good, though, from the side of Movistar, catching some slow rotations to get back and defend that. So you're keeping the gold fairly equal in terms of what, you know, how far you should be behind. And that 3k gold lead is Irelia right now. It is nothing else.
Yeah, a lot of objective bounties going over generally in the last couple of minutes. So it is keeping the gold pretty relevant here for Movistar. And, you know, oh, yeah, the HUD kind of bugged there for a second. I thought Supa somehow managed to buy 2 runettes, but he's got the last whisper, which if you can get to Lord Doms, okay, we said, you know, maybe IE is the spike that he's looking for, but Lord Doms against all of these high HP targets, the cut down as well, I imagine, is in his runes. That's going to play huge dividends in actually getting through this front line.
you know, I find hilarious. It's the fact that it's actually funky with the big shutdown, and the Irelia is not worth anything extra. Despite the fact that Venour is like 3k ahead.
It's working as intended,
It is
I promise.
Well, let's see with the Wit's End being finished up here for Venour. Does he have the kind of impact he needs?
He's got the Wit's End now, like he is huge.
Yeah.
The only thing he's really missing is the extra tenacity from Merc Turrets, but outside of that, he's a team fighting menace now as well.
Yeah, I've got to say, even though Marky's been getting bullied on the side lane, he needs to find a huge ult now. Like, he actually just has to kind of, like, he doesn't even have flash, but he needs to just try and find his way onto the backline. There's no exhaust, like we've mentioned a couple of times before, so his damage is always going to be there. It just depends on how far behind he is. Unicorns, like you're about to say, she's kind of giving this one up a little bit two-handedly. There's the teleport, there's the engage.
They're going to look to try and burst out the Kennen as quick as they possibly can. They invest all the ultimates they possibly can on top of him. Venour finds himself on the super, but he gets himself the flawless duet. The flash and the cleanse is good. The Xayah's gone down. But Marky needs to go back and then TP back into this fight here. They can just keep this Swain going, though. That's what your win condition is right now. The Swain is the only damage that you have, but the Galio will not be dying anytime soon. Isma's still alive. They're going to be able to get Marky in, but he has no ultimate. He's just kind of a half of a Pikachu, but they finally kill him off. That's a huge shift in this with the AD carries going down. Both teams realize they've no damage.
Such a fumble for Unicorns of Love to miss that fight when they have such a big lead going into the Soul. But really big of Marky, getting the reset through, getting the teleport back into the fight, having the CC, and just the ability, or rather inability for Unicorns of Love to find any picks there.
And generally just a little bit too split from Unicorns, right?
Yeah,
I think
really,
the fact that, you know, Venour is so fed, but he's expending so much of his time to kill a Jinx that is not really at a point where necessarily she needs to be focused. I think if you're the Irelia here,
There's 2 points here, right? You can see that they're trying to get in towards the first one here. The problem is that Venour is just going to be focusing super in the backline. But over on the other side, you'll have 3 guys just trying to deal with the Swain, and none of them actually being a tank killer. Xayah goes down, and as soon as Xayah is down, that's your reliable damage that can no longer take care of these bigger HP members.
Exactly, and once that Xayah's gone, you can just see how tanky Fresskowy looks to become, right? A lot of passives. Yeah, a lot of passive procs as well coming in from the, I can't remember what it's called, but you know, when you hit abilities and CC, you get more health back as well. It just, not enough heal card really either. Actually picked up now by Mask. I think they recognize that this is something they have to deal with.
I really wonder how often that Mask can keep that up, because his ability works in bursts, so I don't really think that he was the one who needed to buy that Oblivion Orb.
I was going to say, I think he hopes to get like a really big ultimate, 5 members, and you kind of just keep it there, I guess, but...
I guess you still have your Q that kind of goes on for a longer period of time if Fresskowy is standing in it, but yeah.
We come back into it. 2,000 gold lead here for the Unicorns. Again, pretty much in that top side, but they haven't been able to get the souls. They got to wait for another 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and that's the big thing now. 3 items that Lord Dominic's Regard picked up. You got Isma and, of course, the Swain now with stopwatches of their own, so they're pretty well set up in now, Jamada, for this next potential fight.
Yeah, exactly. I think the itemization is generally really good as well. Just across the board, everything is geared towards killing big HP targets. And I think for Movistar, if they can keep the fight going for a while, and, you know, there's not this threat of Venour or Funky, you know, one-shotting one of the carries, it feels actually pretty playable. They're looking for Venour now because he's on ward.
He's on ward. He's forced to flash away immediately. He's going to try and get the flawless duet. Will land it onto Isma, but a good hook. Fresskowy trying to jump in, but he's dead already. And you can see the Jinx getting excited. Wants to start trading to these health bars. Nobody's touching Supa, and Supa gets a double kill. It's the AD carries as they try and push for this one here. It's a triple kill for Supa. The feathers go flying. It's a fantastic hook from Alvaro, but the feathers are huge. The triple kill, and it's just too much. It's a 4 for 3 trade. Unicorn still in it.
And that's just an instant triple kill of the feathers there immediately for Funky. That looked like a pentakill for Supa, but immediately that fire shut down by the feathers.
I made the call mid-fight because I could see it unfolding in front of my eyes for Supa.
Oh my lord.
But Funky being able to turn it around is huge. It starts because they see the Irelia on the wall. They say, okay, if we can remove the Irelia from the fight, maybe things look good.
And you can see Fresskowy as well. He got so used to being a tank, but when they have everyone actually hitting them down, he just gets bursted down. But the resets come through from Supa.
Yeah, with no stopwatch, he just dies, and then Supa going untouched because everyone's killing Fresskowy first. We were talking about the amortization being so good. This is where Supa could maybe get it, but the feather pullback on the instant kills. Oh.
Alvaro as well on the back line. Boom.
God
instant
damn.
triple kill out of that one. Almost getting Isma on the back end of it too. And now just straight up Baron.
Isma's
in! Isma gets the steal, and Movistar will keep themselves a Baron.
And they just, they see the Baron, they understand they're in a high pressure situation, so they just flip it, and they lack some of the setup. There is no one actually around the guard of that Baron wall to see if Isma's coming over. He comes over, he gets the Drake.
And now with the Baron,
the Baron,
we know what it is, Schoolbog, it's
Take a breath, take a breath.
But with the Baron, and now with the additional stats, the ability to kind of stave off some sieges, hopefully for Movistar they can approach this dragon in under 90 seconds time with a little bit more longevity inside of them to actually go toe-to-toe again with Unicorns. They found their way back in. Unicorns a little bit too hesitant when it mattered the most. Fresskowy as well. If he pops the stopwatch in that previous fight, which he's now still has for the next one at the soul point, maybe it looks even better for Movistar. It's really not over yet now that they've got the Baron in tow.
You know what's really scary around this Jinx as well is the fact that she still haven't picked up Infinity Edge.
I know.
Like, all these fights has been without IE, so like as soon as you get that, that's going to be a whole different beast. He actually comes out and then it...
Panic, just straight up panic. They didn't need to go for it. You could see there that...
I mean, when you have the Xayah, you always have that like, okay, you feather, I smite,
exactly.
we get it. But it just wasn't linked up, and thus it's just Isma taking it.
I really need to know how close is Supa to IE. I don't think he's going to be able to reset for it now.
Let's have a look. Let me see. Toggle gold.
He's
got 1,500.
I think he's 600 gold.
Yeah, it's 1,300 for BF, and then it's 300, or sorry, 600 for IE. So he's not quite there yet.
No, he's not going to have it, so they're going to have to fight without it.
Or not fight.
Or they could, yeah. You know what? This might be one of those rare scenarios where maybe you're okay with giving up the soul, but I just feel like at the same time, do you want to give over that soul to so many big bodies?
Yeah, good TP wards right now and behind, and this time around, Unicorns of Love being the one who's on priority first here. Venour around in fog of war, they will spot him now.
They're whooping.
Oh, that's one big ultimate out.
It's a huge ultimate no longer there.
There's another one.
We'll get the box down to try and disengage. We'll slow everybody else down. There's the Vanguard's edge. Is Venour now looking to try and make this one work? They're trying to jump on the Supa, but they've had to use Funky's ultimate aggressively, and now he's got nowhere else to be. He's shut down. Supa needs to stay alive, but no, the AD carries are dead. Now it's down to the mid laners and the rest of these two teams. It's a 2-for-1 favor in favor of Movistar Riders. They're trying to jump onto Leona, and they will get it.
That's good.
Great hook there means that Peach has nowhere to go, and he is battered and bruised.
And they're just looking for the TP set. They don't even care about the 40-second death timers for Unicorns of Love, and there's only one member standing. Mass going for the recall now. 4 members alive of Movistar.
It's a 4v1 with 30 seconds on so many members of Unicorns. I think Movistar have just found their way to the semi-finals.
I don't think they have. 20 seconds till Funky and
they're going to play it safe.
Lekcyc, they're going to play it safe. They saw this script before. They saw this happen in game number 1. They don't want to flip it again.
Oh man,
Maybe take
maybe.
care of the Drake, but this time around though, Supa has picked up Infinity Edge now, so next fight should be better for them. But it's also, let's track this summoner spell against Flow, because these are the things that we won't have for next fight. So many members looking for Supa, initially forced to flash out. Then it's Funky as well, under a lot of pressure. He's flashing out now. Then it's the cleanse as well. So many things go down. No, wait, what? What? Wait, picture. How did they get Drake?
I don't know, that's very illegal, but what I really want to highlight
sorry, never mind. No,
You're completely trolling.
It's okay.
It's been a night.
It's
Sorry,
been a night for
my
him.
bad. Get the kicks out. Get the cringes out. It's okay. Just get them out. It's fine. I deserve it.
It's all right. I'm rubbing his back and patting it, giving him a little bit
Honestly,
of a
you
cool
guys,
down
I'm
here.
just going to sit down for a
But
second.
I do really want to say really great stuff from Alvaro and Fresskowy at the very end of that fight to keep the ultimate going so that they have the DPS to cut through the frontliners. Once Supa's dead, it is about him and the DPS that he can afford.
I mean, I know we just said, like, once Supa's dead, that's kind of the big thing, but even though everything, and I mean everything, is being thrown at him right now, he is still putting out the most damage in this game. That is absurd considering the amount of pressure that he is under. Big thing to know is, like you mentioned, a lot of summoners burned. The one key one that I'm looking at is Marky. Still has flash, could get a slice of the Maelstrom if he finds the opportunity.
Could be huge. Could be huge. You have to remember though, Galio can always come down on top of it.
They're looking to try and maybe catch him out, and he's dead. They trade the tower up the top side. Finally, the stopwatch gets used. That's going to delay a little bit. It's very bad for Unicorns. The second Cyclone comes in. They will get the stun off onto Supa, but nobody's able to jump on top of him until right now. He gets his own stopwatch. Can they delay it a little bit longer? Yes, it is. They can get him, but Marky finds himself onto the backside. They're trying to see if Venour can stay alive, but he just can't do it. Finally, the GA gets kicked off, but it's 3v2 for the next 40 seconds.
They've got a wave, but I don't know if they've got the HP bars. Wait, Peach has Warmogs. TP's there for Mask. Maybe they can actually find something here. With Supa dead, no ultimate on the Swain. How brave are they feeling to try and end this?
It's tough. They're looking for it. It's going to be 3v2. It's not exactly a sure gone conclusion, but they've got the Xayah. They've got 4 items. They've got enough AD to try and make it work. Here we go. You need to kill off the minions. They're going to jump here onto the Swain, and he is dead. There's nothing you can do. Isma kills off the wave. But Peach is healthy enough. They've got enough here to try and go for it. Minions be damned. There's nothing you can do right now because Isma can't really keep this one going. Finally, Mask will go down. Alvaro trying to see if he can keep this one alive for the Superliga. But Unicorns of Love are looking for it. Not quite able to do it. Peach will not do it. And Movistar stay alive.
Look at the mid lane wave. Look at the mid lane wave. There's so many supers coming through here as well. Are they actually just looking for it? Okay, count the teleports. Venour still got that teleport. It is an open nexus. No one dropped the ward, I think, just yet. There's a single ward standing right there. And you can see Lekcyc trying to set up a single TP ward should it become relevant. On the other side, though, they're just running down mid.
They are running down mid. How can this happen? 2 times in the same series, Movistar. How poetic would it be?
It's gonna happen.
After game number 1, to just run it down mid
and
end off the back of this.
I don't know. Yes, you've got Supa, but you've got plenty of damage to deal with here. I don't think you can go for this backup, Movistar backup. You don't need to be here. They're going to try and coin flip it, but he's tanking the turret. There's Nexus turret number 1 down. They need to get another one, but they can't.
Please.
They need to leave. The Baron is up.
Baron is available. The problem is, though, you can't just rush it immediately. All death timers has come up again for Unicorns of Love. Super minions on the top side. Supers for Movistar Riders in the mid lane. But are they just running straight towards it? Looks like they are.
There could be a TP coming in here. That's the big question. It's got a perfect flank. They know it's there. So you're going to see the hook over the side there. They need to keep Alvaro there. I don't know if you can go for this one. It's a full-on flip. There's going to be a TP to try and get back out of this one here. Isma trying to see if he can exit the pit right now. They're going to throw down to Supa, who has to cleanse. And everybody backs themselves away.
It is. Oh, hold on a minute.
They're still going. Venour on a bit of a flank right now. Gets a flawless duet onto Isma, but a Cyclone good to try and disengage. Supa's not quite there. Supa seeing if he can get away from this one here. Double Supermas will be cleared up by him, but you don't have any Nexus turrets. You're bare. You have to defend this. You have to take the fight. Looking for more. They're going to see if they can maybe burn down Peach, who flashes away. Marky going to go in, but he's getting taken out. Funky is massive, and looks like Unicorns may have done it. There's no Supa, and there's no way you can survive this. After 5 games, the Prime League will stand tall, and the Unicorns are going to semis.
They stand over the Spanish giants, Movistar, and you can see the destroy in their faces because they know they could have won this series. And probably nightmares thinking about that game number 1 as well, as Unicorns happily gallop over the finish line. But a lot to think about on that series.
They limped.
Yes, they really did. And on the cusp of getting reverse swept, they find control of that game. And despite how many mistakes we saw in the early game, all this came down to execution in the later team fights. Early game barely mattered. It was just how do we play this late game. Both Nexuses almost available, and yeah, they're going to be having that feeling for a while. It's going to be what you're thinking about when you go to bed tonight. It's not going to be fun. And on Unicorns of Love, it's going to be a sigh of relief and hopefully some good takeaways going forward in the tournament.
I mean, look, for Movistar, hold your heads up high, lads. Like, you made this a series as much as we like to meme that thing, because at the end of the day, I'll say it, like, we came off that first game. I said 3-0. Straight away, I was like, there's no way you can come back from that mentally.
And that's a sigh of relief we're talking about.
I was going to say, that is the sigh of relief incarnate right there, because it got dicey. And honestly, it comes down, especially in those kind of series, in those kind of moments, you know, maybe Movistar don't go for the end. Maybe they look for the Baron first, and then they can, like, you know, stall out. There's so many if, buts, and maybes, Jamada, that it doesn't really matter. What matters is the result, and Unicorns got the result.
Yeah, exactly. Unicorns did get the result at the end of the day. And I think, you know, kind of maybe slightly more favored coming into the day, but that doesn't make it any less, you know, bitter for the side of Movistar to get so close.
And I love it's the fact that it's not just a series where, you know, it's so slow, you're just getting some objectives fight. It's like, it's high-octane gameplay.
My
Both
voice is shot.
The amount of times you had to mute yourself to just actually
literally
readjust
to
the voice.
Yeah,
I know,
myself.
like, what a great series to cast as well, and really just like, yeah, there was small mistake and small things you can always make the move on. It is ERLs after all, but in terms of some raw mechanics we see from some of the players and some of the execution in these team fights, pretty much everyone at times had highlights today.
Absolutely, and I think that's the big thing there, is that everyone had a moment where they looked fantastic, and I think that's what the, you know, the big thing is about from these two teams. But we're going to send it back over to the analyst desk to break down today and see where and when we're going to be finding these teams out later on. But yes, over to you guys. I'm tired.
Hello, tired.
Hi, tired. We're dad. No, we're the analyst desk, and Unicorns of Love has managed to claw their way through this quarterfinals, to say the least. I mean, she'd be laying on the floor after that, just taking a little nap. We're all probably
It's taken a few drafts to get there. I just want to say, of course, before we congratulate Unicorns of Love, commiserations to Movistar Riders.
Absolutely.
They must be kicking themselves.
I mean, we saw it at the end.
Game one, one auto attack off of the winning game. Then they get a little bit overexcited and they try again and they get aced, and they try again and they get aced. One auto attack from that damn Nexus going down and them going into the next stage, which is the semi-finals. The fastest finals of the LVP this team managed to do, and it was over Heretics. And unfortunately, their journey gets cut short.
Okay, let's have a moment of silence. Anyway, so what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's the type of loss that just haunts you. You know, you're just going to think about that 3 years from now.
No, don't
It's really-
say
it's-
3 years.
I mean, I
3
would. I think
years?
about losses I had back in the series, back when I played UKLP.
Yeah, but that's why you're here and not playing.
Man,
That's true.
top laners are dramatic, man.
That's true. I'm pretty dramatic. No, it's a really tragic one, especially
Yeah.
because of how well some of the players played. I think,
Yeah.
for example, Supa, I think he had a really great series, and it really showed why he was such a good carry.
Okay, well, I love that you're talking about top laners and, you know, a little bit of divas, because we have the top laner ready as well for the interview. Venour, hello. Thank you for joining us. And first of all, congratulations on the win.
Thank
How's
you.
it going?
Yeah, it was definitely an intense series.
I can imagine.
And yeah.
So let's start off a little bit with the playstyle that we've seen coming out from Unicorns of Love. It's been very flexible, but there seems to be quite a tendency for that mid-jungle duo playstyle, that heavy focus on getting those two rolling. How has it been getting all the playstyles just to clash together and just process it as a team?
I mean, our mid-jungle duo is pretty strong. We just try to get our bot lane into the game with it as well, right? And get drakes, stack drakes. And top lane, I'm usually just on an island and just try to win 1v1. And this game, this series, it just worked. I gapped him, I think, all 5 games. So pretty happy about it.
It's really funny because Aragorn was sitting there when you talked about the top lane. He's like, yeah, I feel you, man. I've been on that top lane island myself. So screw me, jungle. Talk to us about you on that island and how you see currently the top lane meta, because you've pulled out stuff. Yes, we know you're a fantastic Irelia player, but you can't necessarily say that Irelia is in the meta. So how do you see it from your perspective right now?
I don't think Irelia's meta right now. I just play her because I'm really good on her, and it's just the standard counter pick to picks like Kennen, Jace, or something like this. And yeah, people just don't have practice on it, so I just win them, I guess. And yeah, top lane overall, I think bot lane is just too broken that you have to gank them, and you just need a top laner that, yeah, just plays his own game.
Oh, very important
What
message.
does that say?
Thank you for carry. Aw,
Aw,
see,
that's for you.
they appreciate the top laner. I don't feel like you get that in solo queue.
No, you don't. Usually, usually
sure
top laners
not.
get left on their own a little bit. Venour, I used to watch your streams, and I was a really big fan because I'm a top laner as well. I think we've even played against each other in solo queue. I used to watch to learn Irelia, but now I know you're a pro player now, and you've played. I think it's 2 splits now, once on Big and now on UOL.
Yeah.
I'm really curious, right? What were your biggest hurdles becoming more of a competitive player from being a, a quote unquote OTP?
I mean, the hardest thing is that you have to learn champs while also learning the game, right?
Yeah.
So, and when the meta always changes up, it gets really, really hard. But right now, like this split, for example, I'm in a pretty comfy spot where I can focus more on the game instead of learning champs. And yeah, I think you can see it in my gameplay. That's like way better than the first split. And yeah.
Venour, now that you're talking a little bit about champs, what has been the hardest champ that you had to learn for competitive?
That's for sure Jace. Like, I still have negative win rate on Jace.
Hey, at least it's
Even though-
permaban.
because I spam him, but it's still doomed.
Didn't you take it as a flex in groups at one point? I'm pretty sure you guys won, right? So practice is going well?
I mean, we don't get much practice on it because it's just permaban.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we are just like our mid laner's just that good on it, I guess.
Okay, talking about that top lane meta as well. You said it yourself, every single one of the 5 games, you've had a bit of a lead in that top lane. How does it feel to you in the current state of being able to translate those leads into carrying games by yourself through top lane?
I mean, you have to talk a lot with your team, and it's up to your team to allow it, right? Like, if you want to play side lane, you just have to make it clear that they just play safe on certain waves, and like make clear when you want to fight, when you want to TP, and yeah, that's how I play mid game.
Okay. Make it clear, communication is key, but you are now in the semifinals, so congratulations on that. But we still have one more quarterfinals, and that's happening tomorrow. So from the teams that are playing against each other, is there potentially someone you want to go up against?
I think it's only Ragnar. Ragnar is really, I like him.
Yeah.
So it would be a fun matchup against him.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time for the interview. Enjoy the win of tonight, and we'll see you next week in the semifinals.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
Bye.
The top lane meta. We do love ourselves a top lane meta. We have a
That
top
was
lane.
very wholesome.
It was, right?
He came with a little paper behind him. Thank you, Venour. You said it. He absolutely smurfed like every single game. Even the game that they lost when he was on tank duty on that Cassante.
Yep.
He was 1,000 gold up, and Marky was playing only carries. So to manage to be on a lane where you're in a losing matchup, 1,000 gold up when your entire map is losing, it's a great fit.
Hey, at least he gets recognition for it, right? Like, when's the last time you got recognition for carrying a game? I'm just asking for a friend.
In solo queue, you don't really get many honors. I'm going to be real with you.
Fair
it doesn't
enough.
happen very often.
You can just say, well done, team, well played.
Yeah, maybe you need to be like a little bit more positive. But positivity came through from Unicorns of Love in this game specifically when they needed it the most.
And you can just see, look how much of a menace Venour is. Actually translating these leads from top side to bot lane is incredibly difficult, but he's doing that really well with these flanks using blast current, creativity. Later on in the game as well, in these team fights, he gets 5-man ultimates using Irelia from a flank, so really impressive team fighting from Venour.
I'm just gonna say, Venour was one factor, but every time Isma found Funky in the backline, the second that Xayah dropped dead, it felt like Unicorns of Love could not close out these team fights. I think this particular fight was absolutely fantastic from Funky as well. I feel like on this Xayah he's been shining because he holds on to that ult and then he manipulates his positioning so well, as you will see at the end of this fight. He'll drop the ult and then he will Gale Force to the right, so his feathers hit not one, but 2 people simultaneously. And then there's only a Wukong that has to dash away. I feel like his positioning, the way he moves around the map, his macro, his micro on these champions, where one small mistake on a carry can cost you the team fights, he showed up and he showed off on the champ.
Yeah, and I think it's really easy to forget about early game when the mid game looks like this, just non-stop team fighting.
Yeah.
A lot of the early game was actually really good by Unicorns. Despite that failed dive, which I think was just micro error, it happens, the macro was really good. Using the priorities from bot lane and mid lane to split the map and then make it so they couldn't play through Supa, I think that was really big because Supa was the win condition the entire series. Not only that, then using the priorities to mismatch neutral jungle camp spawn timers, the Dragon and the Rift Herald to secure Dragon at 6 minutes, then Rift Herald with no cross map on the Dragon for MRS, and then Dragon again. Suddenly you found yourself as MRS fighting against third Dragon Soul, and you just couldn't.
Yeah, it seems to be a little bit of a theme this time around where bot lane, I don't want to say win lane win game, but it's like if everybody helps
it's a
you in
bot
the
lane
lane.
meta, man. If you go into your solo game and your AD carry sucks, sorry, you've lost the game.
GG, go
It's just
next.
really difficult to come back. And honestly, right here, I don't think there was an AD carry discrepancy at all. I feel like Supa and Funky played their absolute hearts out. When it came to that last one game, you saw an Irelia angle from Venour. The Kennen got locked in again, but this time the Galio was on the side of Venour, was on the side of the Irelia. So when you don't have the sort of threats that are coming in, and you can get these 1v1s, which he did very consistently on the side lane, you instantly turn them up, not only into a 4 versus 5, but into one split push threat that someone has to reply to. So that instantly becomes a 4v3 for your team.
And I think if there's anything we learned from this series, it's the power of these disengage, like anti-engage picks like Xayah and Galio into the current meta, which consists of a lot of short-range compositions that want to go in. And they just get so much value because that's where they thrive.
Yeah, it feels like for AD carries, this series specifically, it's been like the holy trinity. It's like Xayah, Jinx, or Zeri. There's like no in between. Looking at the gold graph this time around, this has been, I think, one of the most consistent upwards trajectory. There's a little bit of a dip, but you know, a dip always happens. You buy the dip and then it goes up.
I'm just mind blown that both Funky and Supa put their hearts on the line in this game. 41k damage, 43k damage. I'm really blind, but I think that these are the numbers right here. Absolutely astonishing. We sort of highlighted the bot lane from the very get-go. Funky had a fantastic game one to turn this around with a quadra kill on the Xayah. And what a more poetic way to close out the series by playing the Xayah again and getting Unicorns to semifinals.
Yeah, Unicorns with that are headed into the semifinals. And that also means that our bracket once again has been updated because we now have another team to be looking forward to next week. And that is looking pretty spicy. Tomorrow, Team Geo up against Heretics to determine who is going to be facing Unicorns of Love.
It's absolutely spicy, isn't it? I'm really looking forward to this one. I love Team Geo. I think they have the potential to actually win the entire tournament because of some of the players.
Okay, big, bold predictions.
Yeah, no, I'm willing to bet right now that Team Geo actually could just end up in the finals and maybe win, maybe versus the Istanbul Wildcats.
What are you betting though?
Channel points on Twitch.
You know what?
Bet. Yeah.
Gulbo had a very interesting bet, and then he ended up drinking from Finn's shoe.
Oh, he did a shoe.
Yeah. So if you're interested, that's a very cool bet.
I think I'm gonna learn from Gulbug's experience.
Yeah.
And not bet that, actually.
You learn from other people's mistakes,
Yep.
right? You know? Speaking, I don't want to say the mistake, but guys, welcome to the Victory Lap. Forgot to mention it. That's what it's called because we are now actually all gonna get up and we're gonna do a little lap around the studio and like cheer for Unicorn. I'm joking.
Okay,
No, we're not gonna do it. Not in the heels.
This is happening.
Okay.
It's happening.
It is.
You know what? I told our producer we should name this the Banger Breakdown.
I like
but
the
he
Banger
said
Breakdown more.
We're gonna name it the Victory Lap. Thank you very much. Our camera people here are fantastic. Thank you very much.
We
for
are
taking this.
getting our steps in.
done.
I like the Banger Breakdown.
I'm already out of breath. This is not good.
It's okay. Because tomorrow is going to be another banger. And that is going to be Team Geo up against Heretics. And that's something that we've already touched upon a little. Heretics here, they want to defend that title. But let's just be honest here. We just saw Movistar Riders who 3-0'd Heretics.
I'm just gonna say, Heretics have a lot on their backs right now. Not only are they the reigning champions, they want to defend and reclaim the title yet again for a second season back-to-back, which only very few teams, K-Corp, have done. But also, they've got the entire Spanish nation behind them. Only one team remaining for the LVP, and it is going to be Heretics once more. Last time Spain believed in them, they won the entire thing, so...
No sweat.
No sweat.
Yeah, no.
It's the same with France, right? This is their last team as well.
Yeah, this is their last team.
Exactly, there's a lot on the line. I'm really looking forward to seeing
But there's
who
more
wins.
vendetta here because if Heretics go ahead in the semifinals, they can take revenge for their comrades who fell today to Unicorns of Love by beating Unicorns of Love in semifinals.
Yeah, it's funny how it all goes around, right?
Narrative.
It's just the Premier League at this point. They have two teams in the semifinals. The last time this has happened has been summer 2021. So it's been a while. And then they did get two teams in the semifinals, and they both dropped out. So yeah, they didn't make it to the finals. Who knows? This could be the redemption.
K-Corp back then, that pretty much
Yeah,
dismantled many
I heard
teams.
of them. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and on the other and on the other side, there was
Yeah.
a team called Fnatic Rising that also made finals.
Yeah, I heard of that.
Good
team
old
too.
NLC,
Yeah.
man. Good old
Yeah.
NLC.
They're not too bad. They're doing great.
They're all right.
Yeah, heard of them. Well, it was a pleasure, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, both of you, for being such lovely analysts today. We're going to be back tomorrow, same time, same place. You already know it. Team Go up against Heretics, the final team to be heading into the semifinals. You do not want to miss it. Trust me. So make sure, be there, be square. Have a good evening.
Tuve una caída en mi carrera, pero he vuelto más fuerte que nunca.
Pero ojo con Supa, va a reventar a Marlon. Se atreve ahora con el 1 contra FLICKR. No debería de ganar el tetón.
J'ai progressé une étape à la fois jusqu'à arriver au sommet.
Il y a Venour qui est dans la mêlée. Et la côte de Roguette, elle est magnifique du côté d'ADC.
Ich weiß, ich kann der Beste sein, jetzt muss ich es nur allen zeigen.
선택할 수 있는 길이 많았습니다. 저는 지금 걷고 있는 길이 옳다고 확신합니다.
No napiszę tutaj na gotowe, nie odbierajmy. Pentakill jak najbardziej zasłużony.
Orada sıfır bir değişim. Ayakta kalan son isim Erramir.
Uzun zamandır bekliyordum, şimdi benim zamanım.